You are watching the AxonDAO podcast.
Hi, everyone. My name is Cooks-Cambell. I'm the head of content at AxonDAO, and I'm here with our CEO and co-founder, Christopher Crecelius, who's just fresh off of NVIDIA GTC and here to tell us about what happened this week. So we are so excited to see you. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good, good. I'm excited to hear about all the takeaways. I saw some videos, I saw some posts, so it was looking great. So, like, any standout moments for you?
Oh, yeah. Well, besides getting caught up with the jet lag and working really hard days, there's a lot that's kind of hard to sum it up and a small chat here, but there's the technology, the growth of technology, the progress over the past 12 months. It's humbling. I mean, and there's a lot of smart people working on this, and just to see like the Rubin Vera Ultra coming out, the Spark, all these like little desktop devices, like little tiny, Aura Nanos that can run its own LLM just for $200 on your desktop. Like, so many great things are coming out. So it's kind of humbling and awe-inspiring for sure.
Okay, that's really cool. So I didn't know about any of that because I really didn't know. I knew what it meant for us because we're one of the few crypto affiliated projects in the NVIDIA Inception program. But what kind of stuff were they showing off there? Was it kind of like a science fair, or was it like all classroom learning?
I mean, it was a little bit of everything. There's a lot of interest in power, automotive, robotics, especially with factories and just improving workflow. But what was really cool was this year, I think, compared to last year, well, besides it's 40% bigger than it was last year, there's a lot of scientists there, a lot of doctors and researchers. There was a lot more focus on healthcare. And, there's a prevailing theme is like how to get data, how to share data. Besides from the obvious need of how to get power to run these things and the more need and demand for power. But scientists are just, I think, like having a field day with how can we use this and what can we do? And it's really limitless, at least for a long time, to what we can figure out with all this technology. So it's definitely cool.
What's the coolest thing that you saw there?
I liked all the the manufacturing or the craftsmanship and the liquid cooling systems. To me, that was just so cool because, no pun intended here, but it was just the craftsmanship that everyone took to put these new systems together, and because you can pack so much into a tight spot, um, it was kind of neat to see how that has progressed like so much over the past year. So it's definitely where everything's going. So it looks more like an engine more than like a computer. It's pretty neat to see.
That's pretty awesome. Was there anything that you were like, man, I wish we made that?
Well, there was one that was really awesome. I forget the name exactly, but it's similar to Neuralink, and I'd like to, make sure we remember this. But it's a Neuralink type device that goes on top of your brain. It doesn't go through the certain areas, I guess, that would be super invasive, like Neuralink is, and it also helps people that are quadriplegic or paraplegic have movement and some means to interface with a mechanical device. And it was really neat to see how this technology is improving people's lives that otherwise were bedridden or couldn't do anything. So now they can control their stuff, let their dogs in and out, and watch TV and move around. And so, I mean, there's definitely a huge blend between, what we can do with the human body and with this technology.
I know that's a big part of why you founded AxonDAO, right? It's to help people with these real world problems.
Yeah, well, technology's there, and, a lot of people deal with day-to-day technology that's, 20, 30 years old. So, yeah, we've always tried to use technology to empower and push, uh, patients and people's lives ahead. And definitely work on the quality of life. And I think that's something that's overlooked is how can this improve the quality of life, not just expanding your life or creating a new drug for somebody. Um, and I think this is where we have a unique position here, for sure. especially with the needs of data, people needing data. There's a lot of proprietary data and the current power, the current system, I guess you would say. But for us, it seems like it's a really cool opportunity to blend all these technologies together.
So, what do you feel like scientists need access to more? Is it data or is it technology?
Mm. I guess it depends on what scientist you ask. I think it really depends. I was in so many classes, I think like 18 or 20, little conferences. And a lot of them, it's not a silver bullet. It's not like scientists who say they're coming up with an enzyme for a certain protein to help, certain disease. It's not like they go in and they just fix something like right away or they just throw numbers at it and tell it to do it. They got to find small subsets of subsets of subsets of subsets. And where before it would take 5 days, 10 days, 20 days, now they can do those things in 5 hours, 1 hour, 2 hours, and then you verify. So you're going to add up a lot of GPU power. But at the same time, data, you can't, if you don't have quality data, that's the other problem. And there's a lot of stuff about, data noise and, verifying the data you have is real amongst synthetic data or data that, would train on. And so that's always the thing is how to get data, how to make sure the data is verified and legit, and to know what to do with it. And so, it really does get kind of limitless when you start thinking about when you compound data on top of data on top of data. Like it gets monstrous, and that's why you need something like the Rubin Vera that's going to be doing 28 quadrillion operations per second. I mean, it's hard to I don't even know what that number really means. I don't think we know what billion really means, but these are the numbers that these things can do. But it's for scientists, I think it's becoming a field day. It's going to be really cool to see what these things can do.
Yeah. So I like how you describe that, where you say, like, when you start to compound this, because there is an exponential effect here. Like, when scientists have access to data, it can help them design better experiments, design better products, design better outcomes for people because they know what the problems that they're targeting are. And they already have some idea of what works and what doesn't. And then they build technology, and then they need to gather data based on how that technology is impacting people. And so this becomes an upward spiral, so to speak. So that kind of brings me to, like, where do you think the issues are now in this process? Do you think that we're kind of siloed in that way, like that not everyone has access to everything? Or do you think that it's just a matter of we can't do it at scale fast enough?
Well, it's kind of like a twofold thing. A lot of companies are stuck in proprietary, mega capitalistic mode where they just don't maybe want to share the data that they have collected. And it seems to be like a massive ship to try to turn. At the same time, I guess you would say like the precipitation over time of the data that, DeSci in a whole and Axon will be collecting is just going to aggregate. So I feel like we're starting something new, where they have a lot of data, but it's depends on what it is. But for us, I think it's just making sure you're able to get quality data and making sure that people are able to use it and know what it is. It's just that when you kind of take it from people, you're not getting like super accurate data. Uh, but with the sensors that are coming out right now and all the like this Aura Nano, I mean, a Raspberry Pi was kind of it's pretty capable device, but now you have like more and more chips that are smaller and smaller that can know more and more. I think if you're enabling people to want to share data and put data out there and know what they're doing, you're going to get better results. And so then the scientists know, like, I've verified information and I can do something more with it. And of course, everyone's got to run their tests and verify everything and go back and forth. But it's definitely uh, empowering people to participate as opposed to like being proprietary about the process is really going to benefit like everybody. I think giving everybody a means to to add your part. And if it's just maybe in the future taking an image of something and or sharing your data in a certain project to help improve the algorithm of that project, you're helping everybody and you'll be helping yourself. So it's just a unique place for us to be in right now, because we're, I don't want to say a tiny ship, but we're a smaller vessel and we can make some changes because we can adapt. Yeah. Again, it's just very early stage, but we're in an advanced spot in that stage. So,
Do you think people want to share their data to make these projects better?
well, I think if they know it's being treated with care and absolute security, more so than maybe the standards would require. I mean, we went to San Francisco and met with a really cool blockchain company that will help us do that and make sure that things are ultra secure. And I think just trying to always set this standard and making sure that we're going to take more care of your data that we need to, and that that it's going to something that's going to benefit yourself, and it'll benefit yourself more for your health, and possibly monetize where other people would be getting monetized from it. Now you can. So not only you're going to get the two birds with one stone type thing, with getting your data understood, and then for yourself, but also anonymously help other people and other projects understand their data and maybe see if it's accurate. Maybe you've fit a certain genome, or maybe your family history has a certain cancer, in one side of the family. And so you're trying to understand with others. And so, you're going to help people like know more about what their potential, their risks. And when you're doing this in a universal, understood, shared way, I think we're going to be able to quickly understand, like, okay, you're at a higher risk for this, or you're, based on your history of, heart, blah, 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 that you're going to, and now is probably a time for you to get this checkup or something. And what was, really, really cool to talk to one CEO. They do something with with Epic health records. And so, really talking to people that do that side of things, understand like what we do, all of a sudden, like, you have these aha moments. And I think we both see the value and what each other would bring. So, if we can bring this technology to what we're doing, because you have CureOS coming out very soon, and then it's going to really understand a lot about you in a real world way. But then if you can pass it off to Epic, and then have the doctor know when he's speaking to you, so it's like these bells are ringing like right after another, like right now. And I think in the next couple years, we're not going to realize how quick it did change, because I think the technology's here, and it's just really first person to do it. And I think also first person, not say first person, but first group, first, uh, pass it off to this next phase. But it's all about making sure you just do it truthfully, honestly, and right, because I think that's where people are going to go. And that's, you kind of can't beat the technology at this point. I mean, it's there with blockchain and AI. Good luck hiding from that. So I think it's just going to be a run from the truth, run to the truth. And this means, yeah, it's just going to help people. That's what people want.
What are some ways that AI is helping scientists solve real world problems faster and more effectively?
Yeah, one conference I was in, they were making different polymers that break down using enzymes. So they can find enzymes that would, use a certain plastic, and it would, biodegrade these things faster, or they can create other things that would last longer and still be neutral, or non-toxic or something. And so this is where it's such a fresh field, and it's so many, you're creating molecules, you're creating new bonds, you're finding new elements almost, and how they're able to put chemistry and enzymes and biology together. But if you think about it, there's so many variations. And then you have so many different variations of everything. So it's just from making products to making cures and proteins for certain people. um, I think I think it's a field day for scientists.
That's pretty cool. And I can see how the integration that you're talking about would work with CureOS, because would it feed information back in both directions? Like they could feed to the doctors and then doctors could share that information back and you could then use those insights at home.
Yeah, because you're getting real world information, and this is where HIPAA or your current doctor doesn't quite have. And if you go to your doctor, you kind of understand like everyone's like, what? Who you got to get your records from this doctor, and no one seems to know. And if they do get it, they just got it. So your phone has been with you for a long time, and now you can put all this together, and AI can paint a picture, and the more you add to it, the better of a picture you're going to paint for your doctor to see. So I think it's kind of up to us to help paint that picture for the doctor.
Can I just say I've been having such a nightmare trying to get vaccines? I went to a travel clinic and they gave me this whole list of vaccinations I need to get. And I needed to go hunt down my records from every single place that I've ever had vaccines at in my entire life. I was like, there's got to be a better way of doing this.
Yeah, there is. And there's going to be, I think in a few years, we're not going to realize what what had changed, how fast it did change, because I think we're all kind of yearning for that change in life, treatments. So
What do you think it would take to have widespread adoption of a solution like that?
for it to be a capital incentive for all the institutions, insurance, medical providers themselves. But yeah, the technology's there. Like the little Spark box right now that just came out. Everyone has medical grade clearance to use these things for robots, for all kinds of things where you need pretty much 100% accuracy and uptime. So it's there in the back office now, and it's going to be in the front office as well.
It's really cool. So you think that there's a profit motive in why the system exists the way it does right now?
I just know that if there's a better way that people can find a better measurement, a better effectiveness, a better efficiency of cause and effect of treatments, what they're doing with their own lives, and how they're maybe trying to help themselves be a healthier person. You shouldn't probably pay as much health insurance as someone who treats their body like a garbage bin. And, good for you. If that's what you want to do, go ahead. But other people shouldn't have to pay based on I'm this age and I'm this weight or whatever, that you're in some category where someone's, you're paying 3 times as much as you should technically, if you really looked at it. So there's just a lot of things there, but also on the contrary, to monitor people, if they already have a system that they're using, then all of a sudden that you can just par that over. And it's not to say Apple, Google, and everyone else has these things, but if you're able to put it all together into one place and it's yours and you can be incentivized in a certain manner, then all of a sudden you're breaking ground with the doctor knowing that he's getting all the information that's out there. So you don't have to go to 20 places and you can put it all in one spot. But it's not like our CureOS would interact with any of your old doctors from 5-10 years ago. But what you're doing now is going to continue to add to this picture of you having understood your health and monitored your health. So yeah, it's gotta we're just gonna look back and be like, whoa, what happened? It's like the CD just went away. Better alternatives.
That was a loaded question, and you handled that really well. So kudos to that. And what I love about what you said is that we're creating a AI platform that, yeah, you'll have to provide it with this information, but as it continues to gather this data, you're training it in you. And I love the implication of being able to use that for things like health insurance. Like that could be an immediate savings because there's a benefit to the consumer, but there's also a real benefit to the insurance companies of being able to better predict where their claims are coming from and what their expenses are going to look like over the course of the year. I think life insurance uses a similar model where based on certain lifestyle factors, you can reduce premiums, but we don't see that translated to health insurance. It's brilliant. I think that's a great idea.
Well, it's a double-edged sword. I mean, do you want them? It's like you have the option with your health or with your car insurance provider to put the little tracker on there to make sure you don't break the speed limit, but you don't have to. But then again, you could save money. So it just comes back to I think whoever's going to take this to the consumer first and it just comes back to the data. So if you can have the option, maybe there'll be a market, where health insurances or other insurance companies are competing for your business because you're showing that you're treating yourself with care and that you're a good bet. And, so you got to think about it like that too. This is just how early it is, but I think now you can empower people to be able to have these decisions as opposed to being told what is out there about them. You can show. I have been doing this, so that's what's kind of cool about this day and age. But yeah, we're here at a very interesting time.
I love that idea because this is this is a real incentive. People talk about incentivizing all the right behaviors. This is something that I think about a lot. My background is in psychology, and I always think about why people do what they do and why they don't do what they should do. And there's really no secret to a lot of these healthy behaviors. Like we all know we should be exercising and eating vegetables and all that good stuff, and yet we don't do it. And this kind of incentive, it helps build the right kind of habits. I think that's great. Do you see any other ways that are like, for example, the CureOS platform and the CureRING could help people build healthier habits?
Well, yeah, I'm not saying that we're coming up with this new breakthrough that every other health wearable has, but I think now that you're able to incentivize people in this way that we can, all of a sudden, people care about it. They they want to make sure they started something. There's many reasons why you would finish something, but then all of a sudden, if you're incentivized in some means that people are going to want to take care of it, they're going to want to get something out of it more. I mean, it's kind of, when you think about it, you're getting your accurate information about your health, and then you're also getting incentivized with something. So it's like many ways you're able to kind of add value to what you're doing. So then all of a sudden you can have a better conversation with your doctor, and it becomes a exponential, you know, use case that it's just. I think we're just ripe and ready for a change in this way. And I mean, it's gonna happen. So who's gonna do it?
So maybe AxonDAO will. So looking at what we've got coming up in the near future, we have the CureRING, which sounds like it's almost ready to be in people's hands. We've got the CureOS platform that's going to be able to generate personalized insights for people. What other kinds of projects are we interested in?
Good question. Uh, People who are doing something from the ground up that utilizes something with bio, nature, the intersection of these things, data collection, um, people who are trying to do something groundbreaking. There really isn't a limitation. We would like to keep it in the health sciences at this moment. Not to say we would never expand into creating a new polymer for something. Not to say we wouldn't, but anything that would, have a direct impact, and that's something that you can quickly get a verification to know that you can take your idea to the next step. And so we want to help empower you and just get it done. So we're going to start rolling out our granting process very, very soon. Now that we kind of have a focus with our team and our direction for the next 3 or 4 years, that people can submit any idea as long as that it's valid to the point that we can quickly execute it, and at least that they can quickly get a hold on executing it.
The next 3 or 4 years,
Yeah, well, you got to have a roadmap.
gotta have a roadmap. Anything about it that you're particularly excited about?
Yeah, I am actually very excited. We're building things, like physical things, software things, uh, acquiring servers and the means to run them. And in that comes a lot of new technologies that are crossing paths. And we just happen to be in a really good spot in time with sensors and these little tiny Jetson Orin Nano chips right here. Now, this little tiny thing, it's about $250. It can do a lot of processing on this little tiny, I think it's like 30 watts. So it's like really little, 15 watts, I think, actually. It can sensor and identify with various AI language models or any way you would like to configure this thing. But it's just really cool to see that like all of it's shrunk down this little tiny device right now. So it's time to build. And for us, I think there's a lot of cool things that we can start doing to help empower people to start gathering the data and kind of give them a way to help paint a picture of like what they're doing, but also give them something to not to do, but to, almost think of it like an Uber or like a DoorDash or something where you're doing something, but you're getting paid for it and you care about it. So we want to start getting really into the technology side of things and starting to develop these things. We have some really cool plans for the next 3-4 years, and we're really excited to start delivering those things. But it starts with CureRING, and then it's going to start with a couple other generations of a CureRING type wearable, and then we're going to expand from there. But right now, everybody's building, creating new factories, doing new things, and we're standing right there at the very cross of all this stuff. So, yeah, the little Jetson or a Nano. I'm just really stoked about this thing.
It's really cool.
Yeah, this little tiny guy.
So when we were at ETH Denver, you talked a little bit about DeSci and what it would take for widespread adoption for people to really understand what DeSci was. And you touched a little bit about on the credibility issue in academia. So how is the way that we fund projects different from traditional academic research institutions?
Well, I can speak for ourselves mostly, in that the process seems to be cumbersome for others. And so when we kick off our projects, we want to have an always improving response time and always improving granting time, and that we will be more, I guess, fair in how the funds are distributed. We're not going to take 90% of the funds that we give out because that seems to be what other people do, or I don't know. It just when you find out that a grant for 100,000, only actually uses 20,000 for science. The rest is an admin fee, and it takes a year to get the funds, and then the IP is distributed back to the admin. It's just not fair. So I don't know how it is. These are stories we just keep hearing, but for us, we want to just give funds to scientists and let them do things, and when they do those things, they come back and they've understood something. It's a yes or a no, and then we can move forward. I don't know. I think we're always going to take a scientist approach to granting funds as opposed to a bureaucratic, capitalistic approach to granting funds, which they don't coincide. They shouldn't.
Yeah, they tend not to coincide very well. But it sounds like what we do puts a lot of power back in the hands of scientists and even independent researchers.
Yeah, certainly. Independent researchers usually, are working on the problem with passion. Not to say there's other areas that aren't beneficial, but it feels like people are usually, have the good ideas, but they just I can't be validated because I'm not in this, this club or this thing. But they have a really good thing they've worked on. So, maybe that's the next person that has the next really good idea that we just haven't had their chance. So hopefully we start doing that. But to talk about DeSci in general, it's just make it use case where they're not even people aren't realizing they're even doing DeSci. That's the thing. You go to maybe use an Uber, it just shows up. You don't know if it's AWS, you don't know if it's Google, you don't know where it's going. It just works, and you want it to work. I mean, when it doesn't, that's a problem. But when you just make it seamless, that's what DeSci should be. It should be, hey, it just works really well, and I see a benefit. Hey, you just decide, so that's what we want to see happen with DeSci.
I like that. You just decide. You don't know you decide, but you decide.
You didn't know, you just decide. So.
That's cool. I love the positioning of what we're creating as that, as that kind of Uber pathway. Like you don't know how, like you didn't know what Amazon was creating on the back end. You just found a better way to buy books, and then you were like, okay, well, I'm just going to do that.
I can buy a
just
sauna for $100, and it'll be here tomorrow morning.
Exactly.
But it
So
works. And that's the thing. People are, the big thing, not, a lot of people, it's about the response time of your technology. And this is where, having the fastest technologies is better because there's a curve. How fast do you get this response time? How fast people are conditioned to a certain thing, and we're all a little snooty about it. Like, we want to have this in a certain time. If we don't get it, we're running off, but the technology is so crazy. It's so impressive what's happening behind the scenes with AI and the tokens and the power, the GPUs being turned on and off trillions of times a second. Like, and you're just like, I can't wait this long. And so, that's the problem. And I think, people don't care. They just want their package to show up. They just want their Uber to show up. And if we can provide that and call it DeSci, they're not going to know it's DeSci, but they're going to see the benefit just as such. So
what's so cool about how you frame that, though, is that there's what we've been conditioned to expect, and then there's the impact that it had on the bigger industry. Like, I used to have to call at 4 o'clock in the morning and get someone to send me a taxi if I wanted to go to the airport. And now I can't imagine what that would be like. I don't know the number of any car service companies. And packages used to take weeks to show up. But now, if it won't show up by tomorrow, we're all mad about it. So, what do you think is the impact that DeSci will have? Will it make us start expecting more from our doctors, from our healthcare systems? How is it going to change how we expect our health to be handled?
I think the easiest answer for me to say is you can challenge what's being said or known about you. And let's be honest, when you go to a doctor and they are fumbling to find your file, and you've been alive your whole life, and they're going to look at this file and they're going to look at you and they're going to make this recommendation that's going to change your life. Now, you can say, no, but doctor, actually, this, and you have something now to validate that, like, no, I swear at this time, like, this happened and I felt this way. And now you can challenge the status quo a little bit more. You can say, like, you have a better understanding of how you're feeling. But the thing is I think because you're benefiting people, it'll be ingrained in your life so much that you're going to care about your health a little more. And then all of a sudden, when you go to the doctor, you're going to be pretty sharp about what you understand about yourself. And then all of a sudden you can present that to the doctor and be a little more armed with understanding like how you feel because you have the tools to empower yourself. I mean, that's from a consumer side, I guess, in the general speak. Yeah, I just see that you're empowering people to just know more. You have a gauge of your body.
I love how you phrase, you're going to challenge what's said and known about you. To have that ability to be the person that steps in and says, like, this is what I'm feeling, this is what I'm experiencing. And then to have that validated and backed up by science that you control is powerful.
Yeah, you could just have it. Here, look, it checked. Blockchain said at this time I did this and this happened, and at this time was this, and you're validated. There's no I made it up. I'm making up this problem or whatever. So you have more accurate understanding instead of a pencil and a pen and some random thing that you can't validate. So it's a cool time for that.
Do you think out in the mainstream, people have a little bit of a creativity issue or an imagination issue with AI and blockchain? Like, the way that you're using it and the way that you're describing it is so innovative to me. And I think most people either think that it's like meme coins and crypto, and they don't see what can be done with it.
Yeah, well, I think there's two layers to, well, maybe I would say start answering your question. There's three layers. There's the general, I don't understand AI at all type. I'm scared of it and just don't know enough to understand. I mean, yeah, there's good and bad things and all that, but then you have people are using like the tools that are there, that are reorganizing the tools and pieces that a lot of people have created that, not saying they're easy to do, but because you have to add data to these tools and create them. But then you have the other layer of people who are just like whiteboarding this thing and saying like, what can this number and this power, computational unit do? And I need to get these crazy numbers and I got to get this crazy amount of power. And how do I make something that is truly going to be remarkable? But like I was saying earlier, it's not a magic bullet. You have to, if you're going to understand like one thing about something, you have to understand like 100 things about it. And just to understand the 100 things about it, you have to pretty know well each one of those 100 things enough to give the data processing, enough ability and a chance to do something valuable. So it's not a magic bullet. Like people think that AI is just going to take over the world. I think you could just, there's a lot of things you could do, to take it out if you had to. But, when it comes down to it, it's such a new thing. People are still fumbling with it, trying to figure out like what it is. Not saying that everybody is new. Everybody has a story that they're working on, a project, just a piece of this picture. But for us, it's just, there's a glue that's like missing, kind of like the fabric here that's in the background. And it's just this, how do you get everyone to participate in it and give their data freely? You're providing like the privacy security with blockchain, and you have the ability of AI, and you have people's, human incentives to know about their bodies. It's a really neat thing. And I keep going back to how interesting a time it is, because I'm telling you, look back in a couple of years, you're going to know that it happened. And it's good that we have people, not trying to say like us, but independent people that are trying to make sure that, hey, we should look out for people first. Because isn't that what science is supposed to be about? Science, people. Science is for people. The data is to help improve people's lives, generally. Let's keep it that way. And so that's what if I could take away anything from it, is that the AI and all this needs is people as much as we need it. And it's up to us to keep the guardrails up there, but there's a long way to go before the bots rise up. You just kick them over and unplug them.
That's all right. Just kick them over. Give them one of those unsolvable riddles and just let them work on that while you run away.
Yeah, divide 0 by 0. It'll just sit there. I cannot do it.
We definitely have to put that in the reel. Be like, the founder of AxonDAO gave us the secret to preventing the robot uprising.
Kick it over.
Divide 0 by 0.
Ride it up.
Right. Just keep your cheat sheet on hand in case of robot uprising, break glass. What's one key takeaway that you hope people are walking away with from this conversation?
I would like people to take away that AI is here to help people. It's up to you and everybody who has an interest in it to participate, because it is a level playing field right now for anybody who has an interest in understanding. The technology is out there for you to learn. It's not, that hard to pick up a book or open your YouTube and ask some questions. But it's all there. And, just do a little research for yourself and understand like where it is and how it's going to improve our lives and what to know. And again, to know where to put your data and where not. And, sometimes just understanding that you have to make sure you go into your Bluetooth settings and turn off your Bluetooth. And some of these things you just have to be aware of about yourself, but understanding that we can work with technology. It's going to work with us. And, we should see that a lot of things are going to improve in our lives if we let it with this technology. So it's exciting to look forward to the next few years.
And if people are interested in AxonDAO and our work and what we're creating next, where's the best place for them to stay up to date on that?
Definitely follow our X, check our website and things. Website's about to be updated. Keep an eye out for that. Discord, Telegram. We have 2 Telegrams. One's for chatting. One is for announcements. And our YouTube. Also, we have other Medium and many other places. It's all available on our website, AxonDAO.io. And also check out CureOS.io. And soon to be announced live will be Silosis.io. So we're excited about all of our projects coming out and putting some use case to the the DAO.
Any final thoughts for the people out there?
Get ready for the next few months. There's a lot happening.
Oh, that's a good one. Okay. On that note, I love it. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me today. This is really fun. And I was so excited to hear all the things. So thanks for giving me the breakdown. Um, for anybody out there who's listening, thanks for sticking with us this far. And thanks for helping us advance the future of science. I'm Malaya Cooks-Cambell. We've been talking to Christopher Crecelius, the co-founder and CEO of AxonDAO. And we're excited to have you on this journey with us. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Thank you.